Hello everyone, it's Elated here, and as you could tell by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about the financial aspects of going to a school like Icon Collective. Through sharing actual experience of people who have gone through this, I want to demonstrate to the people hung up on the financial side of pursuing their dreams in music that this is possible. You can do this. You can work a 9-to-5 and you can pursue music. You can go to a school like Icon if that's what you want to do. What I did for this video is I actually have a friend in the same city I live in, Victoria, BC, Canada, who just graduated the online program. So we've actually brought him into the studio to interview him about the financial side of going to Icon. Now you might be asking yourself, wait, why can't you just talk about the financial side of Icon Collective? Well, full disclosure, I was in the military in Canada for about 12 years. If you're American, you've probably heard of the GI Bill. In the Canadian military, within the last 2 to 3 years, they came out with the education benefit for veterans. Icon doesn't have financial aid, but they have had scholarships in the past. I know that there was a Black Voices scholarship as well as a scholarship for women. There really is no financial aid from the school itself. We are here to talk about the financial implications of going to a school like Icon Collective. And I am joined here by Dale Hughes. You can follow him on Instagram at Music by Hues. Dale is a recent graduate of the Icon online program. Do you want to introduce yourself? Give a little...
So I am Hues, or Dale Hughes is my full name. Graham and I met through a masterclass a couple years ago, I think. We both live in the same city. I saw Graham commenting with his location tagged.
Yes.
We both knew Icon and kind of bonded over that, and now we're both here. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. I've watched a couple episodes of the vlog, and
yeah, let's just get into some of the financial questions. That's obviously why the people are clicking on this one. Is there anything that sticks out for you as a lesson that you wish you knew when you started that you now know?
I would say try to get a sense for what your budget is, like financially, but also what you want, sort of your goal budget, I suppose. Trying to define that as closely as you can. Icon is 100% worth it, but it's also very expensive. So having a sense for what your goals are and what you really want. So if you really want to be a standalone producer artist, or you want to be a vocalist, or you want to be in the management program, having a sense for what your goals are and then what your financial obligations are to support that. I didn't really have that built out when I started, and just sort of went for it. And then I realized these are some areas where I might have to cut back on spending or save a little more, and then you kind of budget it out, and then you're able to avoid any kind of nasty surprises.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I imagine a lot of people go through the whole I'm just going for it, I'm jumping in, I'm going to Icon, and then reality kind of hits you a little while later, and you gotta. But that's the thing too, that I've noticed, even in leaving the military and through other friends who have gone on to different careers and different jobs, is you just figure it out. You just adapt. You just adjust.
Yeah.
But if that's what you want, then you're just gonna figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
How did you balance a full-time job with Icon coursework?
That was hard. It's tough. So for me, through high school and university, I learned how I approach big projects, and a busy schedule is scheduling things super aggressively. So for me, kind of annoyingly for my girlfriend, I think, but scheduling things Monday, Tuesday is these assignments or these classes. So depending on when your mentor calls are in the week, because they can move around, but knowing where you want to get to each night of the week, knowing scheduling in some break time to see family or friends or your girlfriend or your partner is all really, really, really important. But just having that balance is the only way I was able to do it. And you really have to hold yourself accountable and be this might be something we get into later, but being defensive about what you say yes to and no to. Because saying it's never saying yes to something. Like when you say yes to one thing, it's saying no to a bunch of other stuff. So if somebody asks you to go out, now that that's allowed again, or work late on a project or take on some other responsibility, like consider it, but also remember that if you say yes to that, you're saying no to working on that assignment or working on your brand or whatever it is. So really being regimented, sticking to your schedule.
How many hours did you work a week, and how many hours did you spend on Icon coursework and homework?
So my work day is 8:30 to 9, like 8:30 to 9 to about 5 to 5:30. So it's a full length work day. Icon, I would probably spend 3 hours Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday night probably. So 3 hours each of those nights. So whatever, like that's 12 hours, I guess. And then all day Saturday, which would be probably another 5 hours. So I was trying to get around 20 hours a week in. And then Wednesday nights and Sundays, I tried to keep fully cleared for friends or family or
other obligations.
For partner. It's also tough. Like you want to be flexible to do things, but also you can't because you have to balance it. So it's challenging. In a way, COVID kind of hit, like for me, it hit at a really good time. Not that there's a good time for that to happen, but in terms of the like lockdown, cancellation of events and stuff. I started Icon in January of 2020 and like March.
That was it, hey?
Locked down, and then I just finished in June, and things are just opening up. So it kind of cleared my social schedule automatically, which was pretty helpful.
So at Icon, you can pay your tuition either monthly, quarterly, which is 3 months, which is a semester, or you can pay the entire thing up front. So I will add that the financial people are extremely flexible. Like if for whatever reason you got a raise at work, whatever, you got a little bit more money, you can just pay for the rest of the quarter. You can just pay for the next quarter. Like they don't care really what you do as long as obviously you're paying them. But it's just nice that they're flexible because some schools aren't like that. It's like you choose what your plan is and that's it. But it's nice because, I don't know, maybe your parents pay for a semester. You can just send them the money. Which of those plans did you do, and how manageable was that plan for you through the whole 18 months?
So I did monthly. The reason I chose monthly, one, I didn't have whatever the total of it is. I think it's like 18. I think it closes in on like almost 19 grand Canadian over the 18 months. So
and it fluctuates with the market, really.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. It is billed in USD. So whatever, if you're in the US, that's easy. But if you're in Canada or somewhere else, it is in US. So as that moves.
You have to be able to wire transfer, and or if your online banking does that. Like, it really depends where you are in the world. But there's people from all over the world, so there's always a way.
Pro tip, I would say. One pro tip: put it through. If you're gonna do Icon, I would put it through on your credit card. Because then you get a bunch of travel points or reward points, and that is super helpful.
That's a good idea.
So I would do that. But I did monthly. My budget that I built out at the start of Icon is monthly, so it takes all my income, all my monthly expenses, which are things like rent, other fixed things like car payments or gas, that kind of thing, and then also variable expenses like what I'm spending on eating out or just kind of random stuff. Tracking that every month, and then Icon was just a monthly expense.
So you really found that just based on the cost of Icon that you had to really keep track of, like you had to really plan out your finances. I really actually kind of think there is something to be said about like just taking your shot, going for your dream, which is kind of the reason of doing this video, is to like encourage you that like even if you need to work a 9 to 5, even if whatever the circumstances are, like if it's something that you truly want and you truly like feel called to do, to go to a place like Icon, like you can do it despite all that stuff. What would you say would be the top 3 most important things about staying on top of your finances while going to Icon?
I would say, I mean, an overall thing would be having your budget. Like
The budget.
having the budget. It's really boring. It's everyone talks about budget. Like it's such a lame tip, but
Yeah.
it's
Adulting.
super
Budget.
important. Budget. Do it. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't have to be this scary thing. Like you can build it out however you want, and it should just give you an accurate idea of like, okay, what can I actually do? So
Yeah.
that would be the first most important thing. Yeah, the second thing would be trying to be really clear, as I said in the beginning, about what your goals are, and then try to work backwards from there to how that impacts your day-to-day. So like, let's say you really want a new car, you want to upgrade a car, you want to get like a new phone or something. It might not seem like it in the moment, but all those things will affect your ability to keep paying for school. So if it's a car payment that you don't quite need, maybe reconsider that. Or if you don't need the new phone and it's like the difference between $120 a month and $60 a month, that can go a long way. So it's really just figuring out what your priorities are and then trying not to lock yourself in on a path where it's like, oh crap, now I've got all these expenses that I'm contracted in, I can't get out of it, and now school has to go.
I think that's a really important thing to bring up because, you know, time and time again, what I'm seeing online is people saying, you know, I'd love to go to Icon. It's my dream to go to Icon, but I just can't afford it. You know, and I think that these things that you're talking about, thinking ahead on, like that's what's going to make you not be able to afford it. So,
Yeah.
you know, do you need to buy that car, you know, new or used or whatever, or could you take the bus? Could you figure out if you're really set and your real dream is to actually go to Icon, like these are the things you need to really think about in advance.
And then prioritize.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, what?
Yeah, just
Cut.
prioritizing your time
Yeah.
at Icon and trying to defend it, as I like to say. Like you're only there for, if you're in LA, it's 12 months. If you're online, it's 18 months. It seems like a long time, but it's actually really fast.
Yeah.
And trying to put up barriers around to make sure you get the most out of the homework, out of the mentor calls.
I will note as well, like I'm about 3/4 after you started, and I think the quarter prior to me starting, they actually changed the online program to be truly self-paced.
Yes.
Which means, yeah, if you wanted to get crazy and finish it early, you could do that. But the suggested time frame is a unit a week, which equates to around 18 months. I think we've pretty much touched on most of the stuff, but what I wanted to ask is like, how do you feel now completing the course, just in general? And like, what would you say were your favorite things about Icon, and any tips for the people who might be starting soon or wanting to go?
So yeah, graduating it's a really exciting and weird feeling. Because yeah, you get so used to having that routine, having that structure, and then it's just sort of open. But at the same time, that's super exciting because Icon has a lot of assignments, and it's nice to now have the time to like work on the things that you are more passionate about or that you really want to focus on. Comparing myself now to where I was when I started, I don't even think I fully know all the things that I've taken in and like internalized.
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel like the same way.
In a lot of ways, yeah. And I'm sure, yeah, finishing, like, I mean, you literally just finished like a week and a half ago. So, like, yeah, it takes time to really process and, like, yeah, just see where your head's at. And,
yeah, but I would say the biggest takeaway is the confidence coming out of the program. Like, I'm a very nervous person, and I still get anxious sharing my tracks with people, but I'm so much more confident in the quality of them, the songwriting of them, like the fundamentals of the songs are good now versus before. It was, I didn't even really know what chords were. I didn't really know like any music theory. I was just sort of doing what I thought sounded good, which you'll quickly learn often doesn't work. Yeah. Until you at least know the basics. So that was the biggest thing. So my favorite things, first of all, I'd have to say, is just coming out of it with the confidence of knowing you've made something good. Favorite things that I learned probably would be the music theory was my first first favorite because it was the area I thought I was weakest in.
Yeah.
I just was sort of throwing notes into the piano roll and trying to copy other people's chord progressions and that kind of thing. So that was super helpful. Songwriting was incredibly helpful just from not so much the technical music theory rules, but like how a full song fits together. It's really easy to get stuck in like 8-bar loop, like loop land is what I call it. It's really easy to get stuck in that and lose sight of the context of the whole track.
Yeah.
So the third thing would be mixing and mastering, or studio tech is what the course is called. So one of my mentors told me, when you're mixing, think of everything in terms of arrangement first. So what sounds you're using, are they sitting in the right octave for that sound? What's conflicting, instead of how do I EQ this thing? How do I compress this to get out of the way of this thing? Like, if you approach it from arrangement and sound selection first, then your mix and your master process is so much easier. Because I used to approach it being really scared and like I thought it was this big, crazy, gnarly puzzle, which it is a puzzle, but when the pieces all are kind of pre-cut, it's so much easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any final words? Can be anything you want to the people out there.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, shout out to Graham, aka Elated, for having me on. Thank you very much. Being clear about what you want, and not being afraid to actually do it. Like, I think it's, for me at least, I know I got caught up in my age. And I was like, oh, Martin Garrix is like 21 and all these guys are super young and I'm just starting, and I let that get to me for a while. You meet so many people on the journey that are in different stages. Everyone's on their own path. So I really wouldn't, if that's what's holding you back from thinking about Icon or just pursuing music in general, I don't let that stress you out, please. Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to like book a tour or admissions call just with someone if you're curious. That's what I did. I just did a phone call, and there's no cost to that. There's no obligation. It's, if you're curious about it, don't let it just be like a question. Actually look into it and like start to make those moves, even if you realize it's 2 years away financially. Because once you get the ball rolling, you might realize like, oh, it's actually way more doable than I thought. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on here. I know that these are really, really important questions to a lot of people out there. Go give Dale a follow on Instagram at musicbyhues, Hues. Yeah, thanks for being on the vlog.
Thanks for having me.
So some real life perspective there from a recent graduate who has gone through the online program. A big thank you to Dale for being on the vlog and sharing his experience. As I said in the beginning, I want to demonstrate to people who are hung up on the financial side of pursuing their dreams in music that it is possible. I really, really hope that helped. If you have any questions at all, I'm an open book. Comment below, message me on Instagram. I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks.